Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 610. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, coming to you from Merritt, British Columbia. What are we going to rant about today? We're not going to rant about anything. We're going to introduce the panel, and we've got Charles Cliff from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Charles, welcome to the show, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I hope everyone else is doing good.
You're playing with your background there, and you've got a bright light on the left-hand side.
Yeah, that's not going to work. I'm just trying to get it so it keeps blurring out and so on. So
that's okay.
I'll just go with that.
Your corner office isn't bad. Doesn't really matter.
That one's good.
That one's good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, Will, or Charles, how are you doing? Everything good?
Everything is fine. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to elaborate on that. That's just short, sweet. Let's talk some football.
No, it's not that much to elaborate on.
Okay. And we have Will MacDonald from Calgary, Alberta. Big Stampeder fan. Sitting in the pouring rain last weekend. William, welcome to the show, buddy.
Well, not only sitting in the pouring rain, that was, I can honestly say, by far and away, the coldest football game I've ever been to in my life. And I've been to games that were minus 20 in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
My hands were so cold that day because I put gloves on and the gloves got wet, of course. Mm-hmm. And there was probably 500 people at this game. Now, my question is, they listed the attendance at 16,000. That was obviously the tickets that got bought.
Or given away. Okay.
How can they justify charging people for that football game when most people didn't show up for it because of the weather? I tend to wonder, and I don't care because it's just money as far as I'm concerned, but I wonder how they can attract fans when they do shit like that, is all I'm saying. I think maybe you guys have a different idea behind that. Tell me if you do.
Well, I believe there are clauses when you buy a ticket to an event, any sort of outdoor event, saying that, there's no refunds for bad weather. I mean, whether or not they wanted to or not, but I mean, typically they'll have a clause in the terms and conditions when you buy a ticket that says this is a rain or shine event.
And I understand that. I completely understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But the weather was just like, it was horrible. I mean, I don't even think the players wanted to be out there.
No.
William.
And I don't know how you think you can entertain people with that kind of a game. Because no matter how good the teams were, the game was horrible.
Do you know why I'm laughing at you?
Because you live in BC and you're going to give me this old BC thing. I used to sit in games like this every week, blah, 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 blah.
Every fucking week.
But they built BC Place. How long has BC Place been around?
Since 86.
Okay.
No, 83.
83. So when you sat out in that cold weather, Christopher, you were a young man. I'm an old man, okay?
Hey, but there was old people there, okay?
As a matter of fact,
the point being is there is no colder weather than +2 rain and wind.
Sure, and I've never argued
you cannot dress for that. You cannot prepare yourself for that. I don't care what you have on. You're going to be fucking cold. -20. You can dress for that. You can prepare for that, and you will be fine. It will be entertaining. In fact, the sunshine will probably be out.
Yep, the sunshine will be out in Calgary anyways.
So when everybody says that the West Coasters are wimps because it doesn't get cold there and they've got a dome stadium, all I've got to say is you have no idea what fucking cold is until you're soaked to the bone and the wind is howling and you're frozen. And you don't just go home and get warm. It takes 2 or 3 days to warm up.
Yes, it does. And the other thing I've noticed is, so I sat through the whole first half in my seat. And then when I tried to stand up, my legs didn't work.
Yeah.
Because they were pretty cold and they weren't functioning. So for the second half, I basically stood up for the entire second half because I didn't want to be frozen in the spot there. So, but yeah,
there's
I just
probably nobody behind you bitching, was there?
there was 3 guys in my row that I was talking to. There was 2 guys in front of me. Those were the closest guys to me. Everybody else, there was like I didn't count the people, but if I can't distinguish, but there was 500 people, maybe 1,000, 2,000 people there. Okay, it was
It
Or
crazy.
looked like you
16.
could have had your own. It
What
looked
was
like
that?
you could have had your own section if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, you could have. Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Okay.
but anyways, so that's my introduction to my horrific football game. And hopefully the one next week will be way better.
And that
So,
was like June. Okay. That's not
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
November.
It's not like we're in
Cold.
the fall.
but it was the first day of summer, by the way.
First day of summer out here at Elkford, it snowed.
Yeah, I saw the Elkford pictures. That was pretty funny.
Snowed. Not a good thing.
No.
Okay. So let's talk some football. We had 4 games this past week. We had the Montreal Alouettes were playing in Edmonton, playing the Elks. And this game was over midway through the second quarter. And Montreal kind of went on cruise control. And the second half, everybody said, oh, well, Edmonton came alive. They did great. They rallied. They did all sorts of stuff. I said, no. Garbage time started at halftime. Montreal couldn't give a shit. All they did was go into prevent D, and it was. And then, I got into an argument with Bobby Ford, and Bobby Ford is Trey Ford's daddy. And he was talking about how wonderful his son was in the second half. And I went, yeah, okay. Not going to happen, buddy. It's not going to work for me. I'm not buying this argument. And I said, I really feel bad for your son, Terrell, because he made a bad decision going to the Elks. Because he's a good defensive back and he should be on a team that's going to win a game or 2. I'm not sure the Elks will. But it was a horrendously terrible game for Elk fans.
But as I mentioned before, the Elks will get better. Maybe not this year, but they will get better.
It won't be this year.
No, I still.
But they will. I agree.
They have the right staff in place. Would argue about the quarterback thing, but I don't want to get in an argument with Bobby Ford again because I think he doesn't like me because.
Do you care? I don't care.
Because you told the truth. That's why he didn't like you.
I do, because you know what? He's probably a guy who grew up watching his son, and his son was great in Canadian football, amateur football. Okay. Pros are a little different. I still haven't given up on Trey Ford, but I think he's got to learn how to play quarterback. And I hope he gets a coach who can teach him how to play quarterback.
And that's what I said to him. I said, he doesn't have an O-line that allows him to have time in the pocket so that he can learn to read defenses. He can't read defenses. He cannot. And he's not getting enough time to be able to learn. He needs a good quarterback coach. He doesn't have one.
But on the other hand, I agree with you 100%. But I love to watch the guy play because he is pretty amazing.
He's dynamic. No doubt, question about it.
He's amazing in the way Michael Vick was amazing, but Michael Vick never won anything and never came close to winning anything.
He's amazing when he's scrambling around, running all over the field, ducking in and out from offensive linemen. He can make some great plays then. If he's got to stand in the pocket and throw the ball, he's wasting his time because he can't do it then. So, and I brought this up a few weeks ago that his best play is when you're running around trying to make something happen. It's just a straight up quarterback. He's just not there.
No.
So, but we watched, and I'll go back. We can watch Dave Dickinson. We can watch Travis Lulay. We can watch Buck
Matt
Pierce. We can
Dunnigan.
watch Matt Dunnigan. We can watch
Doug
all of those people.
Flutie.
And they all did exactly the same thing. We love them scrambling around in the backfield, making a play, and awesome. And they played great, right? But they all learned to play quarterback.
Right.
And they never won.
Those guys could stand in the pocket and throw the ball and
That's
do
right.
really
And
well.
they never won anything until they learned how to stand in the pocket and throw the ball.
Right.
Correct. The only thing you gain when you're running around like that, making plays, is injuries.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get hit. Now, there is one quarterback who made a living, and for a very long time, doing exactly that.
Yes.
And I do not value his worth in the CFL at all. Who is it?
Damon Allen.
100%.
Yeah, but there's also another guy who still preferred to scramble.
Doug Flutie.
And he knew how to drop back, and that was Doug Flutie. And
he knew how to pitch the ball.
He was brilliant to watch. But
I don't devalue Damon Allen. I think he was an okay quarterback. I don't think he was as good as his stats showed, because his stats showed they're huge, but he played forever.
Yeah.
And
I've met
him a few times and I don't like him as a person, but I mean,
he won a number of Grey Cups, but
he did.
A guy like Doug
Flutie won in
Flutie.
BC.
Now Doug Flutie was the exception to the rule, because
right,
he was great to watch that way.
Part of the reason with that,
football.
Part of the reason with that though is that he was. I was just gonna say he was shorter. I think he struggled to see over the offensive line, and that's why he scrambled, and that's why he was better when he scrambled, because he was a short guy. So that got him in vision.
I compare Doug Flutie to a point guard on basketball, because that's what Doug Flutie was. He used to distribute the ball whichever way he could.
I remember Doug Flutie sitting in the pocket, jumping up and down to see over the O-line.
Yeah.
He had to jump scramble.
Up literally to see
the only way you can see downfield.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? Trey Ford is doing very similar things.
Yes.
Okay. But he has to learn to play quarterback, professional quarterback. And he hasn't learned that yet. And he may never learn that yet.
He's not going to do it behind that offensive line.
He didn't have the skill set to be an amazing quarterback to start with.
So basically, this goes back to what you talked about last week. Okay. Trey Ford should be a guy, because he's been in the league for how long now?
3 years.
Well, 3 years now. 4 years.
They should have had him in the wings working on those things he was weak at.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody has done that, i.e. what you talked about last week, developing quarterbacks.
And they've tried to make him a starter way too quickly. He's not ready to be a starter.
Yes, they have.
He should still be a backup. But I don't know.
Who is he going to back up?
Well, that's the problem. I mean,
and one of the arguments I had one day with his father is he started comparing Trey Ford and Nathan Rourke. And he said Trey Ford was hands above Nathan Rourke in college football. And I'm like, of course he was.
So what?
But Nathan Rourke knows how to drop back and throw the ball.
Of course he was, because he was playing in Canadian college ball where Nathan Rourke was playing in American ball.
Yes.
Huge difference.
Of course.
The caliber of players that he was against.
Right.
Not even comparable.
Right.
I mean, you watch Nathan Rourke, not this year, not last year, but in 2022, man, I saw Doug Flutie running around out there. Okay, I did. He had that way about himself. And it's just, are we going to get back there? That's the big question. I'm waiting for that to happen. And you know what? BC Lions, and yes, I'm a homer, and yes, I am a BC Lions fan, and yes, whatever. Look at their schedule. They played Edmonton, back-to-back Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Montreal. Four of the first 5 games are against the best of the best. If we were playing Hamilton and Ottawa right now, they'd be 3-0. just like everybody else. Right? So, actually, the only two teams right now that are 3-0 are Saskatchewan and Montreal, and they were the two teams that went 3-0 last year before Saskatchewan's epic collapse.
Anyways,
Montreal took a long time to
we'll
collapse.
eventually get to Saskatchewan's epic collapse because I've heard rumors that who is concussed. So
yeah,
he's concussed. He's not practicing.
So
he has a head injury.
Bring on the Jakester.
4 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks.
Bring on the Jakester.
Yeah. Okay, so this Montreal Edmonton game, I think we've gone over it enough. There was some good plays by Edmonton. There was some great plays. Davis Alexander is a wonder to watch. I cannot believe how good he is for his age.
Now too,
and he's hurt now. But I think he'll be playing. He pulled a hamstring, and he was able to come back in the game, but they chose not. Why? Because they had just pounded Edmonton into the ground. So they went with McLeod Bethel Thompson for the rest of the game, and so be it.
And you know what? Montreal, they got a good 1-2 quarterback punch there. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely not. And they've got the best defense in the league. Hard to argue. I can't place Montreal anywhere but number one.
Nope. I agree.
Regardless of what Bomber fans want to think.
Yep.
Montreal's the best team in the league right now. Yep. And are they going to be in the Grey Cup this year?
Who knows?
Who in the fucking East Division is
going to
in the
East is even close to them?
Yeah, but one game, guys.
That's true.
And if your quarterback gets hurt before the big game, you never know. You never know.
You never know. But in reality, if you look at the quality of teams right now, you could have Ottawa, Hamilton, and Toronto all together on the same field, and they couldn't beat Montreal.
Right.
Hell, Montreal was the best in the East last year and ended up losing the Eastern Final at home to Toronto. So there's no reason why it couldn't happen again.
Nope.
Okay, not denying that, Charles. Not denying that. But at this point in time, the powerhouse of the Montreal Alouettes is light years ahead of anybody else in the Eastern Division.
I don't disagree.
Right now, yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, injuries, anything else can happen. And it's football. That's why we play 18 games, because if it was after 3 games and we played Ottawa, Montreal, and Edmonton, we'd be Grey Cup bound, right? Yeah. But no, BC had to play the 4 of the big ones. Anyhow, okay. So this was Montreal 38, Edmonton 28. I think 21 points of that were in garbage time for Edmonton. But beside the point, total 66 points. Everybody picked Montreal to win. So Charles ended up with 120, Will with 116, CJ with 118, Rick 114, and Sparky 102. Sparky's calculator is not working really well for him. The second game that we got to watch was the Saskatchewan Roughriders went into BMO Field and spanked the Argos. And again, we looked at the Argos and they just didn't look like a quality football team. Nick Arbuckle he won the MVP of the Grey Cup last year, and he couldn't throw the ball in this game. Or he could throw the ball, but he threw it to Saskatchewan. I don't know what to say about this game. Saskatchewan didn't even have
at least
to try
Toronto
hard.
was in this game. No, that's not true. They were in this game, Toronto.
Yeah.
They were in this game?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Came down to the last.
Yes.
Saskatchewan won it with like 14 seconds left.
Yeah. They were tied with less than a minute left.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the same game?
Yeah.
Saskatchewan and Toronto.
Oh, they were tied, and then that kick return touchdown.
Correct. Right. Walk-off kick return touchdown.
With like 15
but that's
seconds
not what
left.
this.
You're on the wrong game, buddy.
No, I'm not. Saskatchewan,
No?
Toronto. Sparky screwed me up. Just a second. Just give me a second.
Okay.
I'm going to pick on Sparky for a minute.
I thought, well, I can talk while you're picking on Sparky. I thought this was probably the most entertaining game we've seen this year.
Yes, my bad. I completely threw this one out, and you're 100% correct. Sparky did this to me because he put up Toronto with 22 points, not 32.
That would make a difference.
Okay. So instead of being 7 points difference, Sparky had it at 17 points difference. And I was throwing something else in there because that 17 points is not close.
No, you're right.
So my bad. And you're 100% correct. This game was tied, and Mario Alfred returned a kickoff touchdown. Somebody won groceries for a month off of this one. And the Argos lost their game. They didn't even get to go to overtime. The big question in this is, why the fuck did they kick it to him?
Well,
we know
kick it out
if
of
anybody
bounds.
in the league is going to return a kickoff for a touchdown, it's going to be Mario Alfred. Okay. So if you kick it to the other side of the field, he's going to run over there and get the ball and keep running. Okay. Yep. So the only way to stop this is to squib kick it. Just kick it along the ground. Hopefully it bounces off of somebody and it tackles or whatever, and the game's over.
Mm-hmm.
There was
talk. Even an onside kick right now would be better because everybody is at the ball, so somebody's going to get tackled.
There was talk after this game of Argo's special team coach getting fired because they also only had 11 men on the field.
That also didn't help.
Yeah, that didn't help either. They weren't ready. They weren't in it. So, yeah, Ryan Dinwiddie was pretty, they say he was more animated than they've ever seen him.
He was pissed after the game. I saw his press conference.
He actually said there are some players who will be going home.
Yeah, but
have you heard of anybody being released?
No. I hate when people make threats and don't follow through.
It's all lip service.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, oh well. But yeah, it was disappointing because you know what? I think out of everybody, Arbuckle was the guy who showed grit in this game, and he worked and he got smacked and he got hit and he still managed to score that touch or make them score the points before the end of the game.
He didn't play a good game.
No, but he played what he did play when he eventually had to. He did play decently.
He woke up after a while, but it took took way too long for him to get his game.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I said when the score was off, it was still valid. Nick Arbuckle did not play an amazing game of football here. He did not show MVP status. No. In fact, I'm surprised that he got to play the whole game.
And once again, in Nick Arbuckle's defense, it's a completely different team. So,
of course, it is. Toronto is a skeleton of what they once were.
Yes, they are.
Well, here's the thing that I look at. I mean, right before the season, they released Kadeem Carey from Toronto. They have no running game.
They released Cameron Dukes.
They not have a running game because they're not trying to have a running game because it doesn't look like they're trying.
Well, they're not running the ball very well. They ran it 13. They ran it 17 times, but
right.
That's not enough. But if you don't have a running back and you don't have an O-line, how are you going to have a running game?
Yeah. The only thing I was disappointed about in that game is Kadeem Carey wasn't on their roster. That would have been a good game for him to be on their roster.
Mm-hmm. And where is he now? He's in Saskatchewan, isn't he?
He's in Saskatchewan. Yes.
Yeah.
Best running backfield running back room in the league, remember?
And speaking about running backs, former running back for the Argos, AJ Ouellette had 91 yards against his old team.
Yes, he did. He went off against them, so that was kind of cool to see.
More running yards than the entire
Because-
Toronto team
Because
combined.
if I'm correct, he missed the game last year against Saskatchewan.
Yeah, he was injured.
Yeah. So
Okay, so this was Saskatchewan 39, Toronto 32, not 22, Sparky, not 22, 32. Total points was 71. None of this is going to work here. Sparky's got the numbers off, and none of our points are going to count here. So he's going to have to redo that. Because 32 to 39 is going to be 71 points, right?
71, yep.
71. So Charles picked 50. So you're off by 21. So you get 0 points. Sparky's got you down at 20. Will had 43, so that's going to be a 0. CJ had 54. I'm going to get like 3 points out of this. Rick's got 52. He's going to get 1 point out of this. Sparky had 49. He's going to get 0. So all of these things have to change. So we can't really. It's kind of sad that I'm not going to be able to do that. But
there's been some pretty high scores this year.
There has been, and and the games don't start off well.
No,
because the first quarter ends and it's like 3-2, and I'm going, wow, I picked over. This is an under game, and then all of a sudden, fuck, boom, zoom, they're scoring points in the second half, and then I'm trying to tell them to slow down because there's still 9 minutes left, and they've already got 54 points, and I'm going, no more points, no more points, and of course they do. They score a lot more.
Yep.
So the next game, which is the one that we started talking about early on, was the Ottawa Red Blacks went into Calgary to play the Stampeders on a wet and cold summer day, because it was the first day of summer. And it's my wife's birthday. Anyhow, and this game was epic.
Oh, yes, epic.
Epic.
Absolutely, it was epic.
Not sure
If
I
you were
would
there,
explain
William,
it that
you talk
way.
about the football side of this, not the cold and not the fans and not the weather and not anything else. Talk about the football.
It was probably the worst game I've seen in a long time. Number one. There was drops. There was fumbles. There was, it's funny because I agreed with Dave Dickinson twice. He went for the touchdown on third down on the goal line, and twice they didn't get it. And they were still trying to figure out, which I don't understand how teams do this. They go through an entire training camp and they don't know who's going to run the ball on the third down. Okay. They had Vernon Adams in there. They had Vernon Adams in there once. They had PJ Walker in there once. And then they had some quarterback who's trying out as a wide receiver for them that I've never heard of. And he managed to run for 2 third downs because he's 6'4" and weighs 250 pounds.
Isn't this where you put Tommy Stevens in?
Well, yeah, but he plays for that other team now.
Anyways,
so, because they didn't want to spend the money. Anyways, and they wanted a backup quarterback this year, like Jake Mayer. Anyways, it was a crap game. Ottawa, they deserved to win, I guess. Calgary didn't even look like they were there. Vernon Adams, I have discovered in 3 games with Vernon Adams that Vernon Adams is a fair weather quarterback. He doesn't throw well into the wind. He doesn't throw well when it's raining. He has not thrown for a touchdown pass this year.
Nope.
And they're 2-1.
3 games.
Or 3-1, whatever, 2-1. 2 and whatever you call it. Yeah. So
since there's only 3 weeks, it's going to be 2-1.
Right. We shall see what happens. Because I did watch a blurb this morning on Calgary local Calgary newscast, they had Jay McNeil on the podcast or the broadcast with the Calgary Bowl trophy that's coming a week from Thursday. And
what is this? This doesn't make sense.
why?
This is that big.
Okay.
This is for that game they're having during the Calgary Stampede.
They're trying to make this like the Banjo Bowl and the other thing, and they're basing it on the Calgary Stampede because this is the first time ever that we've had a home game during the Calgary Stampede. They usually go on the road for 2 weeks. So they're trying to make that work. And right now, apparently, this is the most tickets sold this season to a game. So I guess it's working. And it's actually on a Thursday night.
And you know, when we first at the season, even I don't even think we were in the season. We were in the off season. When the schedule came out, you started whining and whimpering about the fact that we're going to have a game in the Calgary Stampede and it's going to be dismal and it's terrible attendance. And why would anybody want to go to the football game when the Stampede is on? And I think I said that it's going to be an amazing turnout for this game.
Maybe.
And now you're going to tell me it's almost sold out.
Well, no, I didn't say that. You
said it was the most tickets sold.
Yes, but
I know
they sold 16,000 for the last game. Okay,
but it's not done yet. Still, a week away or 2 weeks away?
Yeah, but tomorrow in Winnipeg on a Thursday night, there's 700 tickets away from selling out.
Yeah, I know, but there's also nothing else going on in Winnipeg.
So anyways, so Jay McNeil was there with his nice, shiny, red, beautiful trophy. Too bad it's going back to Winnipeg. Because that's where it's probably going.
It's a Winnipeg and Calgary game?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And I don't know if they're going to try and do that every year or different teams, but
you have to get the trophy back.
It's quite a nice trophy. So.
Well, maybe the trophy comes back kind of like the Banjo Bowl trophy.
I guess the fat guy in Winnipeg, what's his name? I can't remember.
Wade Miller.
Wade Miller called Jay McNeil and asked him why he didn't get it in blue and gold as opposed to red. Okay, so just saying.
Kind of like that.
That's kind of funny. But yeah, overall the game sucked. It was hard to watch. It was hard to sit there. I froze. You can't see any talent. Calgary had a couple of injuries that they were missing. Reggie Begelton wasn't bad. It was quite a nice tribute the guys made to Reggie Begelton whenever they got a nice pass. They did his fishing thing. I don't know if you guys know what that is. And the week before they lost their starting middle linebacker and the guy they replaced him with
he got injured, didn't he?
Didn't do that great. I.e., that's why I think they made the decision to do that other thing that we're not going to talk about yet.
We're not going to talk about it yet?
Well, that's coming up later.
It's in the agenda.
Okay, we'll leave that alone.
In the agenda. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Charles, you got anything to add to this game?
I did not because I was en route to the Lions Bombers game, so I really didn't see any of it.
Oh, that's right, too. I did watch this game. I did enjoy it from the warmth of my home. And I was on, and so guys, one of the things that I am trying to do now is to get on the game chat on the group that Phyllis posts up there. Sparky does that religiously, and I've been trying to get in there and make as many comments as I can, as long as I'm available. And so I think we should all kind of participate in that and see if we can get some. They used to go through 300-400 comments in a game, and now we're 14-15 comments in a game, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah,
I try to do it whenever I'm at home and watching a game. So
we'll have to see if we can make a point in there. Okay, we've got, this was an Ottawa 20, Calgary 12. This did not go over. This was definitely an under game.
Yep.
Total score was 32 points. Everybody picked Calgary to win, so nobody got the big 100-pointers. Charles, you got 12. Will got 10. CJ got 0. Rick got 2. Sparky got 0. And that was the end of that game. So the last game was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers came into BC to play the Lions. Lions were without their starting quarterback, Nathan Rourke. So Jeremiah Mazzoli got the start. This goes back to my rant about developing quarterbacks. Why aren't we developed? Anything would have been better than Jeremiah Mazzoli. We're paying this guy money because we needed a competent backup. We still don't have that.
I was going to say, I think we've wasted our money.
He's not. He's not a competent backup. Why do we?
Come on, he threw for 281 yards.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, half of that was probably
picks.
in the last half of the fourth quarter.
And he got 2 picks, and he didn't get hurt.
It's a miracle.
Just
but
saying.
He wasn't playing Saskatchewan either, because Saskatchewan seems to hurt him often. Okay, so
what is the status this week of Nathan Rourke?
He's practicing.
He is practicing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only thing that we can say at this point in time is he is practicing.
Okay.
And we'll get into that more when we discuss the games that we're going to do in a little bit. We're going to do those very quickly and very soon. Okay, so Charles, you were at the game. Anything interesting that you'd like to add?
Honestly, I'm going to be upfront here. The Bombers weren't great in this game, and they were ripe for the picking, I thought. They didn't play anything over. And I thought really after the first maybe 2 series, I thought the Lions defense stepped up pretty well and actually shut the Bombers down pretty good. Offense was doing nothing. When you got Jeremiah Mazzoli, you've got Nathan Rourke, why are you only giving James Butler the ball 9 times? You should be running that way more times when you got your backup in. I mean, it was one comedy error after there was a stupid lateral pass that ended up going for a touchdown that should never have been thrown in the first place. And then Jeremiah Mazzoli got picked off in the end zone. There were a few points where it looked like the Lions defense was going to get some momentum, and then boom, they do something stupid, and that momentum went away. The Bombers, they were good in this game. They weren't great. Like I said, I think if Nathan Rourke starts this game is a different game, but Jeremiah Mazzoli, he was missing open receivers. He was overthrowing. He was underthrowing. He started getting a little bit rhythm towards the end of the game when the game was pretty much out of reach. The Lions got their only touchdown of the game with like a minute and a half left. This was just a terrible offensive performance because and I'm not putting this on the receivers. I mean, Justin McInnis had 94 yards. Keon Hatcher had 92 yards. Guys were making plays, but Jeremiah Mazzoli was not getting the ball like he should have. He was missing guys. They didn't run the ball nearly enough. The Lions defense started off quite slowly. I thought their defense got better as the game went along. They picked off Collaros a couple of times in this game. He also threw 2 interceptions. And I thought they were much better against the run this week. The Bombers did not even get to 100 yards. They got stopped basically at 87 yards. So that's an improvement from the week before. Now, they didn't have Oliveira, but Matthew Peterson the week before ran for well over 100 yards alone against them. Yeah. They shut them down quite well this year, but the BC Lions had no attack whatsoever. 6 points before the fourth quarter, 1 touchdown with a minute and a half left. It just wasn't good enough. I was hopeful that Jeremiah Mazzoli could maybe put it together, but now we're sitting here with Jeremiah Mazzoli in second string. We've got Chase Bryce third string, and I have zero confidence in either one of them. So please hurry back, Nathan Rourke, because they're going to struggle to beat anyone if he's not playing.
In Jeremiah Mazzoli's defense here, that lateral pass to James Butler, that was 100% on Butler. It hit him right in the numbers, bounced off his chest. There's no excuse for that. You cannot drop that ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it was low, it wasn't high, it wasn't behind him. It was a perfect lateral pass. Shouldn't have been a lateral pass. Don't be throwing the lateral passes because shit can happen, and it did.
Take one step forward.
One step forward. You have to be ahead of your quarterback. So anyhow, it was it wasn't a good game for either team. And there's no reason the Lions couldn't have won this.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't.
They did.
They didn't win.
They didn't. The
They did
Bombers
not.
only had 255 yards offense.
The Bombers scored 17 points in the first half, and BC scored 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the Bombers went on coast after that. So.
Yeah. And you can say that BC scored points in garbage time. Okay. And they did.
And as far as, you know what, I keep on hearing all this bullshit from teams about how BC's one of them I heard this year, that now we have a running back and we're going to run the ball.
No one's running the ball.
Nobody's running the ball. Anybody. I don't understand why anybody's not running the ball. That the rain game in Calgary on Saturday, I would have run the ball every freaking play.
Yeah.
Okay?
If your running back's not touching the ball 20 to 25 times in a game, there's something fucking the matter.
Yes. So there's something the fucking the matter with every team.
Yeah.
Ottawa has 100%. William Stanback. Why are they not giving him the ball the majority of the game in Calgary?
Right, but they did give him the ball quite a bit in Calgary, and they won the fucking game.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Okay. So this was Winnipeg 27, BC 14, total 41 points. Everybody picked Winnipeg to win except Charles. Charles did the homer pick for BC.
Yeah, that strategy did not pay off.
No, it did not. And I wanted it to for you. I really did. Too, but... I was willing to give you the 100 points for the win, but didn't happen. So Charles, then everybody else got 100 points in there. Charles, you got 50. You bang on, hit the score. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You picked 41. There you go. William, you got 24 points. CJ got 16. Rick got 18. Sparky got 20. So I can go over what we got for this week, but it doesn't count because Sparky screwed one game up. So I don't believe that these panelist standings are valid. Okay.
Sparky,
I'm last if that's the case.
Well, you actually came in.
I'm probably still last.
You were last for this week, but you're in third place because of your previous scores.
Fair enough.
Okay, and according to this, but it's going to change. We're going to get an update on it. So I'm not going to read them out because they're not relevant. They're not real.
Just to quickly go back to Will's point about nobody running the ball, there was not a single 100-yard rusher this week.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go into the next games that's coming up. What do we got? Oh, those are our power rankings. Oh, okay. He put our power rankings in there. So week 3 power rankings, we all picked Montreal to be number 1 except for Rick. So Montreal's in first place. Winnipeg's in second place. Saskatchewan is in third. That was unanimous straight across the board. In fourth place, we had a split between Calgary and BC. Calgary won that one. So Calgary is in fourth place. BC is in fifth. Ottawa straight across the board, except for Charles. He picked Hamilton. So Ottawa ended up in sixth place. Seventh went to Toronto, which was everybody but Charles, who put Ottawa in there. Got Hamilton really high compared to everybody else. Hamilton ended up in seventh, and Edmonton is in the basement, and that's how our power rankings sit. So Montreal, Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, Calgary, BC, Ottawa, Toronto, Hamilton, Edmonton. Now, the CFL.ca power rankings came out this week. Did you see them, Charles?
I did not.
They have BC in 8th place.
I think that's a little behind who? Who's ninth?
What? Who's ninth?
Edmonton, 9th. Yeah. Hamilton's ahead of them.
They're dumb.
Based on what? A winless team against a team with one win. Ottawa won a game in a storm.
Ottawa is in 4th.
Oh, you know what? Then there's no credibility in these stats. Then.
None.
Who
Zero.
the hell is putting Ottawa in 4th? Even
Well,
with their win.
for example, if we lined everybody up on a computer screen and said, Charles, why did you pick Montreal number 1? You could explain why. Or why you picked BC 4th. You could explain why. I would love to hear their explanations.
Yeah.
100%.
Because they'd be scary.
So if they've got BC in 8th place and they do something similar to what we do, okay,
yes.
which is average everybody's points.
Yes.
Not every one of those people put BC in 8th place.
No.
Somebody would have had them in 7th, 6th, maybe even 5th place. So that means somebody out there had them in 8th or 9th place.
Tell me something. If Ottawa is in 4th place, who is in 5th?
Calgary, I think.
And that's obvious because Ottawa beat Calgary, Charles.
Well, Calgary's there, but because I'm looking at Ottawa 1 and 2. You've got Saskatchewan 3-0, Montreal 3-0, Winnipeg 2-0. I guess those are the top 3 teams, and you put Ottawa with 1. These don't make sense.
Don't try and figure it out. Don't try and figure it out. You'll pull your hair out, man.
Hang on, just give me a second here.
And I'm telling you, if there's not a storm in Calgary, I don't see how Ottawa beats Calgary. The weather is a great equalizer in that one.
Yeah, but you know what? You can say that, but I look at it, they both had to play in that weather, man.
Yeah, I know, but sometimes teams that are not as good as some teams the better team will be brought down to, I don't know. It doesn't. Putting them in 4th, it doesn't make sense.
Go back to the 2018
right
Grey Cup. They say if that field hadn't been that icy, Calgary wouldn't have won.
That's probably correct.
That was the Edmonton one, right?
We'll never know. Yes, sir. We were there.
I was cold. But yeah, I didn't think that Calgary. I remember going into that game expecting Ottawa to win.
Yeah, once again, 2001. If Winnipeg hadn't have been drunk, Calgary wouldn't have won. Same thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So I was looking for the CFL power rankings, and here they are. Okay. They have Montreal in 1st. We all agree with that.
Yep.
Okay. Saskatchewan is in 2nd.
Yeah, I could argue with that. Yes.
You can make an argument, but Montreal's been better than Saskatchewan in my view.
No.
Maybe
Montreal is in 1st. That means that Saskatchewan bumped Winnipeg.
Yes, because Saskatchewan.
Sorry, my mistake.
Winnipeg's 2-0.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay.
So Winnipeg's in 3rd. There's an argument for this to be valid, but there's a better argument that it's wrong.
Right.
Okay. Ottawa, 1 and 2, is in 4th. Calgary, who is 2 and 1, is in 5th. Toronto Argonauts, who are 0 and 3, are in 6th. 7th place is BC at 1 and 2. Hamilton is 8 at 0 and 2, and Edmonton is 9 at 0 and 2.
I know why BC's in 7th. They haven't played a good team yet, have they?
Winnipeg twice.
It makes no sense, man.
And they had their starter for half a game against Winnipeg.
Makes no sense.
So, okay, Saskatchewan. Who's Saskatchewan played so far this year at 3-0? Ottawa,
They
Hamilton, and
played
Toronto.
Toronto, Hamilton, and Ottawa.
Yeah, but Ottawa's in fourth place, man. Come on.
Okay.
A combined
Makes no
one.
sense. I don't know how these guys actually get paid for this shit.
How is Toronto
They
in
get paid
6
for
and
this.
0-3?
TJ, maybe this is the job I'm looking for.
Might be, buddy. What happened to my hair? It's doing weird shit. Okay. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I cannot understand how these guys get paid to do this shit.
Oh,
Okay.
I want to mention one more thing since we go to the next thing. I don't know how to say this. TSN. Don't let Davis Sanchez wear a hoodie on broadcasts. He looks like a goof. What?
You're wearing a hoodie on a podcast.
On a podcast, I don't get paid for it. And I'm not wearing a suit jacket with it.
Maybe you should.
Okay.
Wait, what's your hoodie say there? Old Navy. Okay.
Old Navy.
I got my BC Lions on. There you go. Okay, so we're going to do the games now. The first game up this week is the Edmonton Elks into Winnipeg to play the Blue Bombers. And Bobby Ford believes, without a question of a doubt, this is where Edmonton wins their first game.
He could be on a broadcast.
Should we invite him on the podcast?
Yes.
He should be on a broadcast.
Okay, so here's the funny thing about this. In the CFL.ca pick'em, where the panel picks the things, Jamie Nye has picked the Edmonton Elks.
Yep.
Then everybody else on that panel has common sense.
Everybody else picked Winnipeg. Okay, so the next thing up is pushing buttons here, Sparky. Whoa. What the fuck? It's not Sparky, that was me. Okay. FanDuel has Winnipeg by 9.5 points. 9.5 points. Have you ever seen that?
That's
something that high?
Huge.
That's pretty high. It may not stay there, but
over under is at 50.5. CFL Pick'em has Winnipeg at 95%, Edmonton at 5. Sparky's calculator has Winnipeg at 52 points. So Sparky is taking the W at 52. I'm going to go out on the roll here. CJ is going to go first. I am taking Winnipeg in this game at 54 points. This isn't going to be close. This game is not going to be close. I can't wait to see the Winnipeg Blue Bomber defense tee up on Trey Ford. He's going to be running for his life. Will he make some plays? Good possibility.
Yep.
Is he going to make enough? No. Okay, we did have Rick. Rick did give me his scores, his picks. So let me get over there somewhere. Where is he? Didn't he say he wasn't going to be here today, that he was doing a photo shoot? And there they are. He has Winnipeg at 58. Okay. Charles, what are you going to do here?
Well, first of all, I'm going to agree with you. I don't think this one will be close. Edmonton has lost. They've played 2 games. They've lost 2 games, and both of their losses were by double digits. I don't think this changes. Winnipeg's a tough team at home. That defense is going to have a field day with Trey Ford. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is not setting up for success for Edmonton. Sorry, Bob Ford. I don't think your prediction is going to hold any water at all. I'm picking Winnipeg to win this one 51 points.
Charles taking the Bombers at 51. And William, what are you going to do here?
Winnipeg got 55.
Wow. Okay. This is going to be a tight one again. Game 2 has the Montreal Alouettes traveling to the unnamed stadium in Hamilton and playing the Tiger Cats. Let's see what happens here. We've got Montreal by 2.5. Oh, hang on. Everybody picked Montreal to win except Jamie Nye again. He took the Hamilton Tiger Cats. FanDuel has Montreal by 2.5 points with an over-under of 51.5. CFL Pick'em has Montreal 80, Hamilton 20, and Sparky Calculator has Montreal at 56 points. Montreal 56. Rick is doing Montreal at 58. CJ is doing Montreal at 54. Rick has picked 58 on every game. CJ does the same thing with 54. Okay. So Sparky 56, CJ 54, Rick is 58. William, go ahead.
Is Alexander
Montreal
playing?
Hamilton.
Is Alexander playing or not?
I don't think they've officially said one way or the other.
No, I have not heard news either way. But that being said, at the end of the last game, they said that he could play if they needed him.
It's in Montreal or in Hamilton?
It's in Hamilton.
Yeah, okay. Montreal 55.
And Charles.
Everyone's taking Montreal. I took a game last week where everybody else took the other team, and it didn't pay off. So I'm going to stay with the group on this one. The one thing that did give me pause is whether or not Davis Alexander plays, but they still have McLeod Bethel Thompson there to back him up. So you're still, more than capable. To me, right now, Montreal is the best team in the CFL by more than a little bit, I think. So even with McLeod Bethel Thompson, I still think they have enough to beat an 0-2 Hamilton team. I'll go Montreal 52 points.
52 points. Okay. The next game is BC into Saskatchewan to play the Rough Riders. Now, here's a little bit on this game. Trevor Harris has a head injury. Nathan Rourke is practicing. That does not mean that Trevor Harris is not playing, and that does not mean that Nathan Rourke is playing. But that is news. Okay?
Oh my God. That makes it hard.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Mazzoli or Jake
versus Jake Mayer.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we could have a Jake Mayer versus Jeremiah Mazzoli game.
Literally, if that's what comes up, that turns this game into a complete coin flip.
Oh shit.
You know what? I think Jeremiah Mazzoli's a better quarterback than Jake Mayer.
I wouldn't agree with you.
You wouldn't agree?
Well, hold on. My question is, when was the last time Jake or Jeremiah Mazzoli, other than last week, played a full game?
2 years ago or something like that?
No, try again.
3 years ago?
2019, man.
That's the last time he played a full game.
I would assume so, yes.
No, it can't be.
No.
It can't be.
I'm telling you.
No, it was Dan Marino took him out in 2023. And he had played Dan Marino. Garrett Marino.
Garrett Marino.
Yeah, Garrett Marino.
I disagree with you guys, but I'm going to check on something.
I'm looking this up right now.
Go to Wikipedia, Jeremiah Mazzoli, go to the bottom, and you'll see how many games he played in each year.
Let's see. In 2022, he started 4 games. He started 1 game. He played he started 3 games last year for Ottawa. So it's he's played games. He started 9 games in 2021 for Hamilton. Yeah, that's right, because he also played in the Grey Cup that year too.
Which year?
In 2021. He didn't finish. He played But he came in. Well, he didn't play the full game. He came in relief because Dane Evans got hurt early in that game, but he did play in it.
Did he?
But,
Okay.
yeah, but he has started since 2021. He has started 17 games.
Almost a full season.
Yeah, in 4 years. Now, he hasn't played much, but he has played more than a full game since
Oh my
2019.
God. Oh, this is hard.
Okay, so CFL Pick'em has Saskatchewan straight across the board.
Sorry,
Jamie and I did not step off the.
What's wrong with Nathan Rourke?
It's an oblique muscle injury.
An oblique muscle. This shitty place. That's a shitty injury for a quarterback.
Because it hurts you when you throw.
Yep.
The throwing motion.
So we don't know how bad it is, but he is practicing, so it's a game time decision.
Yeah, he has progressed, obviously, because he didn't even practice last week. This week he has been practicing, but they haven't confirmed whether he's going to start or not.
FanDuel has Saskatchewan by 5.5. Over-under is 51.5. CFL Pick'em has Saskatchewan at 84%. BC at 64. Sparky has Saskatchewan
54.
at 54. Saskatchewan at 54. Oh, no, sorry, 55. We had a discussion about that. He took my 54 and I made him give it up. So he went to 55. Saskatchewan at 55. Rick has Saskatchewan at 58. CJ is taking the BC Lions at 54 points.
Welcome back, friend. I'm not going to be on the boat by myself.
No, there's no way I could take Saskatchewan over BC. Come on. Hey, Saskatchewan at the best of times. Never mind when they're playing BC. Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. So, Charles, I'll let you take BC. What do you want? What's the score you got?
Oh, geez. 51.
51. Now, just for Sparky's benefit, you're going to have to say what team you're
I picked
picking.
the Lions.
Okay. Because we'll get that question tomorrow.
I know, but unless I say otherwise, Sparky put me down for the Lions. I'm a homer. I've even got homer on my T-shirt. That's how much of a homer I am.
No, well, I got the BC Lions. See?
Yeah.
Okay. William, what are you going to take here? Don't you dare fucking say BC. Don't you fucking dare.
Don't do it. Please don't. He's afraid that Jake Maier's going to play. You can tell in his face.
No, I'm not scared. He is going to play, Charles.
He is playing?
Well, what's his name?
Well, he's out with a concussion, yeah.
He's taking number one team reps right now.
That's true.
BC Lions.
Time. Damn you.
Sorry. I will not pick Jake Maier ever.
God. What's your score?
50. You guys are more than welcome to change.
No.
If you're so confident that because I picked them, they're going to lose.
I don't care about the points. I want the Lions to win, okay? Okay. Oh, man, that sucks. We'll pick BC. Okay, so the last game, this is, in my opinion, without question, is the hardest game to pick this week. And it is Ottawa or Toronto into Ottawa to play the Red Blacks.
Wait.
What?
Wait. I'm going to change my mind. Saskatchewan 50.
Thank you.
Really? Thank you. You do know you'll be in first place in the pool if you're victorious here.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about the best running back room in the CFL. So, and the worst run defense in the CFL. So there you go.
This is true. Both of those are true. But you also got to worry about the fact that they don't run the ball.
But you also got to worry about Jake Maier. Yeah. That's what I got to worry about.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay, so Jamie Nye has picked Ottawa. Pat Steinberg has picked Toronto. Matthew Caw picked Toronto. Christina Constable took Ottawa. And Vicky Hall took Ottawa.
Oh, this is a hard game.
Very.
FanDuel has Ottawa at 2.5 points. The over-under at 52.5. CFL Pick'em has Ottawa at 59, Toronto 41. Sparky's calculator has Ottawa at 51. Okay. Ottawa at 51. Rick has Ottawa at 58. And I went back and forth on what I was going to do on this because I really didn't know who to pick because I think it's going to be a very tight, very close game. And it came down, I was kind of leaning towards the Red Blacks. And then I can't pick a team that has Chad Kelly on the roster. So I'm taking the Ottawa Red Blacks solely because of that at 54 points. I honestly think this game's a coin flip, but I'm not picking Toronto ever again. Not as long as that guy plays for their team. I'm being more than a homer on this one. I'm adamant about that, and have been for 2 seasons now. So, William, what are you going to do?
I don't know.
Hey, Charles, what do you want to do?
God, I'm back and forth on this one, and this one is not tough to pick because these two teams are good. Neither one of these teams are playing very well right now. Ottawa 1 win, Toronto no wins. It is still Arbuckle. Have you heard? Is it going to be Arbuckle again? I'm guessing so. I haven't heard that Chad Kelly's coming back.
No, Chad's not practicing. No, he's not coming
back. It's going to be Arbuckle. In Ottawa, I'm going to give Ottawa a slight edge because they're at home. So I will take Ottawa in this one, 48 points. I'm not all that confident in it, though. But
where's it at?
Ottawa.
It's in Ottawa.
Shit.
That was kind of the tipping point for me. That's why I picked Ottawa. Had this been in Toronto, I'd probably go the other way.
Yeah, I'm going to go Ottawa 52.
Okay, so we're in agreement straight across the board on everything except the BC Saskatchewan game. So Charles and CJ are either going to step ahead or Will is going to. Actually, I don't know if Charles is going to step ahead because you're just going to make up for last week's fuck up.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of what's happened there. Those are the games. So let's go find the agenda and see where we're going to go from here. We'll roll through these really quickly because I don't want to spend too much more time because YouTube has a challenge loading big files. We're an hour and 42 minutes into the show, but in reality, we're an hour and 20 minutes into the recording. Okay. Corey Mace confirms concussion concerns for Saskatchewan Roughriders quarterback Trevor Harris after consecutive practice absences. So there it is. He's concussed.
Yep.
It actually said that he's got a head illness. And I thought, like, well, maybe he's got the flu. But no, this is a concussion.
It doesn't sound like it.
When and where did he get this concussion?
I know he took a hit in the game last week, a hard hit. I don't remember who hit him, but people kept commenting on that's where he got hurt.
So, Calgary Stampeders sign linebacker Adam Bighill to the practice roster. Calgary has lost 2 middle linebackers. Adam Bighill is probably one of the best middle linebackers we've had in the league in a decade.
Mm-hmm.
He's 37 years old. You don't see linebackers playing that late in their careers. Is this a good move by Calgary Stampeders? I think it is. Adam Bighill has a motor that just keeps running. He has passion. He has enthusiasm. He is amazing in the locker room. This is an absolutely awesome move by the Calgary Stampeders, who need something in all of those phases of their game. So I'm good with this move by them. William, Calgary Stampeder fan.
I wonder. Okay, so I don't think they would bring him in if they're not going to use him. Right? Would you assume that?
No,
I would agree.
Or are they just going to run him through to see what he's like?
Yeah.
Because
I think they brought him in. This is a trial to see if he is capable of playing football at a high level.
He was injured for quite a while last year. I don't know what the
injury was.
I don't know what the injury. And Winnipeg just decided not to offer him a contract because they got younger, cheaper, stronger. Okay.
Yeah, all of the above.
I think because the guy they lost 2 weeks ago, they said was going to be their middle linebacker for a long time, and he tore a bicep muscle, so he can't play for a long time. So the guy they used last week sucked. And I don't think it's because he's not good. He just doesn't have enough experience. So I'm okay with it. I'm not crazy about bringing in old guys because I'm thinking with Biggie and Moncrief, they have definitely the oldest linebacker duo in the CFL by far and away. So, but let's see if he plays. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I agree with you. I don't like to bring old people in to do this, but at this point in time, you're trying to fill a third position. Your number one is done. Your number two is done. You need some type of experience at that position. You can't go find a young guy.
Well, yeah, but Hamilton just cut their starting middle linebacker for the last 2 games and last year. I can't remember what his name is. He's been with Hamilton
Kyle
since
something.
2020. Yeah, they just cut him. So I'm wondering what that was all about because it was suddenly. So unless he did something he wasn't supposed to. But you know what? Let's bring Adam Big Hill in. I was thinking the other thing is his total knowledge of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming into next Thursday would be quite an asset too.
Probably doesn't
100%.
hurt.
Doesn't hurt, right?
Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to scroll back into the agenda here, and I've been hearing a lot about this Luke Wilson. Now, I haven't seen anything that he said. I haven't really looked at it. I haven't paid attention.
I have.
I'm working too much. So I can't really make a comment on this. I don't know who he is. I understand that he's an ex-NFL player. Is that correct?
There for 8 or 9 years.
Okay. And now he's a CFL correspondent with TSN. So, TSN, William, you're familiar with this? You talk about it, because Luke Wilson calls game finish hot garbage. Gets in a media fight with Michael Ball.
If this guy worked for me and he's working for TSN and he's broadcasting CFL games and he said, and I'm all about being straightforward, I would fire the fucking guy on the spot. Just my thought. Because the last thing we need is people not to think the CFL is a good league, and this guy's on TV saying so. Or on Twitter, or on whatever he's on.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where.
No.
My case, I agree with you 100%. My problem with this is people at TSN, regardless of how wrong they are always promoting the CFL. Matt Dunnigan on the panel is talking about how wonderful Cody Fajardo is as a quarterback. It's like they have to continue. They're always on the up and up and up of every player. They're never putting people down. the
No,
way that we do, because I believe we speak our mind and
Right.
the truth that comes with it. Our opinion is what it is, and I'm not going to change my opinion because I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, because that's not who the fuck I am. But when you're on TSN and you're on TV and you're sponsoring the CFL, your people better toe the line. Now, is this guy
Yeah.
brought in to be controversial? Is this the Don Cherry of CFL?
you know
I
what?
think there's an element to that.
Sure, there is. And I did like how articulate he was about football, but not if he's going to cut down the CFL. You know what? If the CFL is so bad, go back to the NFL, getting a job there on the sidelines, buddy. That's all I can say. And as far as saying some players are good when you really know they're not, let's face it, when you're a TSN reporter and you run into these guys weekly, you probably prefer not to get punched in the face, okay? I'm just saying.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Right? Or at the very least, you'd like these guys to talk to you.
Yes.
Okay? So
there's a reason why we don't have football players on our podcast.
there is so.
So they put out an article, or congratulations to what's the guy's name? The kicker in Saskatchewan, Louder. What's his first name?
Brett Louder.
Brett Louder.
Brett.
He has now scored 1,000 points. Okay, and I go, because he hasn't played very well this season so far. And I said, can you imagine how many points he'd have if he didn't miss? And the fans have come unglued on me, which is fine. I don't give a shit. I'm always picking on Saskatchewan. But who came out and called me out? Want to guess?
A kicker?
Did you pay attention?
Paul McCallum?
Paul McCallum.
Paul McCallum stepped up and he said, why couldn't you have just said congratulations? And I said, because if I had just said congratulations on a great career, I would not have created the controversy and the conversation on this post. Correct. Everybody would have, I might have got a couple of likes, I might have got whatever, no big deal.
You know,
if I don't come out and say something controversial, we get no interaction.
Correct.
Right.
And I mean, I caught on pretty quick when you started baiting people. I don't understand why most people can't do that.
Can't what?
When you bait people, okay? They fall for it every time. They fall for it every time. It's like
100%.
It's blatant and it's obvious. Okay? Yeah. If Charles said the BC Lions were purple, you'd say the BC Lions were orange. Okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that would be right, though.
True that.
You'd both be right.
Yeah.
No purple.
Yeah. No. Yeah, but kickers have to defend themselves because they've been getting a paycheck forever for doing nothing. Oh, did I say that out loud? Whoops, sorry.
You did. So there was a post put out today, yesterday actually, by Derek Mantowich, Bomber fan. And he's got the Bombers and he's got the other 8 teams on their coattail. And this cartoon is this Bomber guy carrying the entire league along, right? And it says, how long do we carry everyone's profit-wise? When do other cities step up, or does the CFL eventually just fold? And of course, this just baited everybody, right? Just going on and on and on and on. And that's exactly what he's trying to do, obviously. And CJ steps up to the plate. Love it. The Bombers have been profitable for 4 years. And you arrogant asses simply cannot shut up about it. What about the 30 years prior when the Riders were carrying you? Oh, that didn't get over.
That probably didn't go over well.
No. But, typical thing. This was on Chatter, and Joe Russo steps up, calls me a clown, and Bomber fans are having their their hissy fit over this. The only thing that riders carry is a bunch of crotch lice and some STDs, and they got from their first cousins.
Oh boy.
Oh my God. I hate when it comes down to this. It's true, but I hate when it comes down to this. Anyways.
I guess I did a good job, eh?
Cry. You're gonna make me cry.
Bait and switch. Okay, so anyhow, anything else you guys would like to add to the show? Because we're going to call this a night.
No, I'm good.
I think that's a good point to end on.
Yeah, why not? Okay, this has been Let's Talk CFL podcast episode number 610. I've been your host, Christopher Jones. We got to talk football, and it was fun. I enjoyed myself. Thank you. We got off track several times. We went on tangents all over the place, but that's what talking football is all about. We go where we want to, and fuck anything else. Okay, William, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. Watch football this weekend. What else are you going to do? Football is great. Football is wonderful. Watch the BC Lions beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Yeah.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Not going to happen, but it'd be awesome.
So before Charles comes on here, just hang on, Charles. My grandson came up to me today and he says, Papa, I have a football question for you. And I says, what is it, Jace? He's 10 years old. And he goes, so it's fourth down. Do you punt? And I went, no. Canadian football only has 3 downs. And he just went, oh. Well, what? And he was completely confused by that. But anyhow, yeah, there's only 3 downs in football. Charles, say goodnight.
Good night, folks. Enjoy this weekend's games and happy Canada Day, which is next Tuesday. So it'll be
happy Canada
come
Day.
and gone before we talk to you again.
And this past Saturday that we missed was National Indigenous Peoples Day. Didn't know that. I got the day off.
Either.
I didn't work on Monday.
So Charles, is it a stat holiday on Tuesday for Family Day or for?
Yes,
yes, it is.
I don't know. I'm retired, so I.
No,
yeah. I got Tuesday off. I had Monday off. Now I have Tuesday off.
So
2 weeks in a row.
So you work Monday and then you got to take Tuesday off. Then you work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh my
Correct.
Lord.
Yeah.
Okay. Some things I don't miss.
Lousy.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey guys, have a great evening. I'm gonna push the button.
Okay.